The 50-30-20 budget rule is the most popular personal finance framework in America. It's taught in schools, recommended by financial advisors, and cited by basically every major money website. And in 2026, it is giving millions of Americans completely broken math. Does the 50-30-20 rule still work? The short answer is not for most people. Here's why. The rule was popularized in 2005 by Senator Elizabeth Warren in her book All You're Worth. In 2005, the median rent in the United States was approximately $750 a month. Today, the national median rent is nearly $1,900. That's a 153% increase. Meanwhile, median wages have grown by roughly 64% over the same period. The rule hasn't changed, the economy has. So if you're trying to figure out how to budget money in 2026 using a framework built for a 2005 cost of living, you're going to feel like you're failing a system that was never designed for your reality. In this video, I'm going to show you what's actually broken, the updated framework that reflects today's numbers, and the automation system that makes any budget work without willpower. Let's get into it. Let's look at the actual math, because the problem with the 50-30-20 rule isn't the idea. The idea is fine. Needs, wants, savings. Simple, intuitive framework. The problem is the percentages haven't been updated in 20 years, and the cost of the needs bucket has completely outgrown the 50% ceiling. The 50% needs bucket is supposed to cover housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, and minimum debt payments. That's everything non-optional in your life, all fitting inside half your take-home pay. Here's what the actual numbers look like in 2026. Average monthly rent, $1,900. Average monthly car costs, $1,110. Average monthly groceries, $325. Average monthly utilities, $380. Average health insurance premium, $290. Total needs for a single earner is approximately $4,005 per month. If you earn the U.S. median household income of approximately $62,000 after tax, that's roughly $5,165 a month in take-home pay. Your 50% need ceiling is $2,582, but the real-world average cost of those needs is over $4,000 a month. The math doesn't work. In 47 of 50 U.S. states, housing alone exceeds 30% of median after-tax income, before groceries, gas, or anything else. In 2026, the average American spends 34% of income on housing alone. That's why so many people following the 50-30-20 rule feel like they're doing everything right and still coming up short. You're not doing it wrong. The numbers were built for a different economy. And the 30% wants allocation, nearly $1,500 a month at median income, is disconnected from what's possible once real needs are paid. The rule didn't break, the cost of living did. So if 50-30-20 doesn't reflect reality, what does? Not another magic number, an adaptive model that starts with what the numbers actually are and builds from there. I call it the 60-20-20 model. 60% for needs, 20% for wants, 20% for wealth building. First, moving needs from 50% to 60% reflects the actual cost of living in most of the United States in 2026. That's not giving up on discipline. It's acknowledging that rent, groceries, and transportation aren't lifestyle choices. They're fixed costs. Pretending they fit in 50% just makes you feel like you're failing when the math itself is outdated. Second, wants drops from 30% to 20%. This pays for the needs reality. At median income, that's roughly $1,033 a month for dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, clothing, travel, and other discretionary spending. Still real money, just not an inflated allowance based on rent being far cheaper than it is. Third, wealth building stays at 20%. Savings, investing, emergency fund contributions, and debt payoff above minimums. This bucket does not shrink. It's the non-negotiable. If needs and wants are eating the wealth bucket, the system is broken regardless of the percentages. On a $5,165 monthly take-home income, that's $3,099 for needs,
$1,033 for wants, and $1,033 for wealth building. Compared to the original, $2,582 for needs, $1,549 for wants, and $1,033 for savings.
Same savings target, but an extra $517 per month in wants that the average American's real costs have already consumed. Now here's the important nuance. The 60-20-20 model is a starting point, not a destination. If you live in a very high-cost city, your needs bucket may legitimately be 65% or even 70%. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your needs cost is what it costs, and you work from that reality rather than from a number invented before the housing market doubled. The rule of thumb that should never move is the 20% wealth building floor. Everything else can flex. Needs can expand. Wants can compress. But the moment wealth building drops to 10%, 5%, or 0, you've traded your future for your present. The 60-20-20 model is the right starting framework for most people. But if you want to go deeper, if you're the type of person who actually wants to know where every dollar is going and squeeze maximum performance out of your income, there's a more powerful method. It's called zero-based budgeting. The core principle of zero-based budgeting is simple. Every dollar of income gets assigned a specific job before the month begins. Income minus all assigned categories equals 0. Not because you've spent everything, but because every dollar has a deliberate destination, including savings and investing. Let's take a real example. A $95,000 salary, roughly $6,200 per month after taxes. Before the month starts, you assign every dollar. Rent, $1,850. Car payment and insurance, $480. Groceries, $380. Utilities and phone, $290. Health insurance, $240. Minimum debt payments, $150. Total needs, $3,390. Roth IRA Auto Invest, $625. Emergency Fund, $200. Extra debt payoff, $175. Total wealth building, $1,000. Dining out, $300. Entertainment and streaming, $150. Clothing, $100. Personal care, $80. Travel savings, $180. Total wants, $810. Unassigned, $0. Every dollar has a name. Every category is a conscious choice. And critically, the savings and investing line items are treated exactly like bills. They are not what's left over after spending. They are allocated first.
The reason zero-based budgeting outperforms percentage budgeting for higher income earners is specificity. At $95,000 income, 20% wants equals $1,240 per month. But you don't actually need $1,240 for wants. Zero-based budgeting forces you to identify what you actually spend, which typically reveals surplus money that can be redirected into wealth building. If the 60-20-20 framework feels doable and you want something simple, start there. If you've tried percentage budgets before and kept running out of money without knowing why, zero-based budgeting is your system. The framework you actually follow will always outperform the perfect system you abandon after 3 weeks. Here's the honest truth about budgeting. The single biggest reason people fail isn't that they pick the wrong framework. It's that any framework requiring active willpower every day will eventually fail. Life gets busy. Decisions multiply. Motivation fades. The solution is automation. Specifically, the 3-account system. Account 1, your primary checking account. This is where your paycheck lands. You keep only the money you need for bills and discretionary spending. The moment your paycheck hits, automated transfers move money out before you see it, feel it, or spend it. Account 2, your high-yield savings account. This is where your emergency fund lives and grows. A fixed transfer moves money here every payday before discretionary spending is possible. Target 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Account 3, your investment account. Roth IRA, brokerage account, or both. Another automated transfer moves your wealth building allocation directly into investments. This money never passes through your checking account as spendable money. It goes directly to its destination. The psychological effect of this system is significant. When you can only spend what's left in checking after savings have already moved, you naturally spend less without feeling deprived. You're not saying no to yourself, the money simply isn't there. You're operating from a smaller number, which is how people who consistently build wealth think about income, not as a total, but as what's left after priorities are funded.
Set up 2 recurring transfers scheduled the day after payday. The one-day gap ensures funds have cleared. Start with any amount. If $625 per month feels too aggressive, start with $100. The amount matters far less than establishing the habit and automation. Increase the transfer amount every time you get a raise. The 50-30-20 budget rule didn't fail you. It was built for an economy that no longer exists. The 60-20-20 adaptive model is where most Americans should start in 2026. It reflects what real costs actually are, keeps the 20% wealth building floor intact, and doesn't make you feel like a failure for having a rent payment. If you want to go deeper, zero-based budgeting gives you full visibility and control over every dollar. And the 3-account automation system makes either framework work on autopilot, regardless of how motivated you feel in any given month. I've put together a free budget template that includes both the 60-20-20 model and a zero-based version, pre-built with all the categories, formulas, and auto-calculation for your specific income level. It's linked in the description. Download it, plug in your numbers, and run the actual math for your situation tonight. The next video in this series covers how to invest $100 a month and what that actually grows to over 30 years, with the exact account setup and the exact fund to buy on day 1. If you're building the savings habit with this video, the investing video is the natural next step. Subscribe so it comes to you when it drops. See you.